So hold on. I guess we're live.
Are we live?
You're live.
We're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Relax Your Cast pod, where it's not a podcast and there are no rules. Now, this is episode 6 with your two lovely hosts of the show, Max and Lowell. And today we are joined by a very special, and I mean special guest. He has one of the smoothest brains in the hemisphere. We're talking glass marble level smooth brain.
All
The one
right.
and only, the Josh J Games.
Woo! All right. Josh really wanted to do the intro today, so
I'm a big fan of the podcast. I mean, the cast pod.
thank you,
It's so
Josh.
funny, dude.
Well,
Thank you.
welcome to Josh J Games, or Josh J Clay, or just Josh J. He's a good friend
Yeah,
of ours.
whole
We've
lot of
known each other
Josh.
for a bit.
His name is
But
actually Mr. Games. Excuse you.
Yeah,
oh, I'm
it's
sorry. I
true.
didn't realize Games was your last name. Josh,
It is.
Yeah,
middle name J, last name
yeah.
Games.
First name
First of all,
D.
First of all, apologies for the late start today. Uh, we'll try not to for it to happen again. But let's be real, it's
It's
gonna
our
happen more
tradition.
often.
It's our
It's a
tradition now.
tradition. Have
We
we ever
can't do
been on
it.
time?
Yeah, maybe our first
Never.
podcast, but after that, we've always been like, we're running late.
So any of the times that we have set, just be ready to wait an extra 10 to
It's okay.
15
We said it's
minutes.
an hour, right? So technically, you should be here.
True,
Should be already
true.
be
This is
waiting.
facts. This is facts. Okay, so we are super excited to have Josh because Josh is an amazing person, and also Josh is a very interesting person. Well, why you got what's with that look? You don't agree with that statement, or
After
Oh,
his
we're starting beef?
whole
Just like, oh, this
after
track
his
coming? Oh,
whole
man.
smooth brain buffer at the beginning, we're gonna hype him up even more. Just fluff his ego all the way. Come on. We're here
meanwhile,
to
if you
humble ourselves.
if you're not if you're not interested in whatever we have going on here, you can watch the zombie movie happening in the background of Lowell's video.
I don't even know
That's
what's happening.
freaking crazy
Hey,
over
But
there.
it is
real quick,
It's
can
really scary.
can we flip my face on the stream?
why?
Can we
Why?
mirror this? Look, I'm not used to seeing my face like that. That's like really bad.
It's
Dude, I know
whatever it's
exactly
shown
what you're talking
here.
about.
Wow, my face is so not symmetrical. Let's flip that right away.
No, dude, your
Ah.
face is fine. You
Dude,
have a very
so what I realized is that you don't like how your face looks in certain ways because you're so used to viewing yourself in a mirror, so you're so used to viewing yourself in a certain angle or whatever. So, but
Exactly.
then the way other people view you, it's the opposite. So, the way you view yourself is weird to other people, but how other people view you is weird to yourself. That's
exactly.
why you don't like the way you look in
See,
cameras.
true. That's very true.
Yeah, exactly.
Therefore, you should not
All
change
right,
it.
Well,
I
I can't
realized
change it, so I have no
we have
choice.
we haven't yet introduced Josh J, exactly who this man is. He's a good friend of ours. He's a psychology major at the University of British Columbia.
Wait,
So
I
he
thought you were
can
an
that's
English major. I'm so confused.
oh,
Really? You thought I
oh
was an English major?
Yeah, I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, did he say he was an English major?
holy
Definitely not.
wow,
Definitely not.
how long have you guys known each other and you're
Big
only now
fans. Big
realizing?
A
fans.
year?
My
Big
goodness.
fans.
Okay. Josh J has aspirations to go into sports psychology. However, we all know Josh J as the master in pottery.
Oh, I know
Mm-hmm.
Josh J is the master in Fall Guys. I don't know about you, but
Oh yeah, that's true.
he's the only person I know that's ever won a
Yeah,
game of Fall Guys.
it's my main game right there.
You are actually correct in competitive Fall Guys. But
Yeah.
I think it'd be, to start off the episode talking a bit about your pottery because that's a pretty unique hobby. Most people, I feel like, have never even tried or touched pottery. But
I
for
haven't.
you, like that's your thing. Yeah, I definitely haven't.
How
Like,
did you get
Mm-hmm.
when
into
did it all?
pottery?
Yeah, what? How did it all start?
So I had ceramics class in high school. Like we had a studio,
Mm-hmm.
and I needed in grade 8 is when I started, and I need an elective. and I didn't even know what ceramics was, like what that word even meant.
Right.
And my mom was like, "Oh, you'll have fun. Like, just try it." So I just signed up for it. And then ever since then, it was just this fiery passion. Like, I'm so addicted. There were so many lunch
Whoa.
times where like I didn't even eat lunch. I just did pottery. And
Oh,
I'd get in
interesting.
trouble a little bit from my ceramics teacher because he was like, "Did you eat?" I'm like, "Yeah, maybe."
I ate clay.
Wow.
I asked, "Don't eat clay. I tried it. We
See,
all tried it."
it's all. Why have you tried it?
So you get curious sometimes, you know, so you just gotta try it.
You put things together.
Follow up question. Are you curious
Mhm.
about the taste or are you curious about the texture? Like, what about it are you curious about that? You're like, I want to put that in my mouth.
Diving deep into this
Yeah.
one.
It's in psychology. We learn about the oral development in children. It's where they explore the world through their mouth. I guess I haven't passed the oral stage yet in when I was 14 years of age. So I think that's part of it. I guess I was literally eating dirt, is what I was literally doing.
My
But
I learned
oh
about
my
that
goodness.
too,
yeah,
but I didn't think it applied to clay, and now I guess I see a real life example. So school does
hmm
matter, kids. Stay in
yeah.
school.
Sometimes you love things so much you just want to eat them.
All right.
Have you done that with
Okay.
your hockey stick?
I've been snow off.
Okay, interesting.
Interesting. This podcast has taken a very interesting turn.
Hmm. Yeah, it really has. I
Okay,
brought
your
I brought some
pottery.
pottery with me too. I could show.
Oh,
Oh
okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
see,
yeah.
let's see.
Yeah.
Wait, is it the ones
Um,
that been in your mouth or no?
I don't want to answer that. Um, like I know Valentine's Day is coming up, so if you ever want to pour a glass of love
Oh,
right here, and it's like a
Whoa.
pitcher,
that's so
All right, can we
cute.
get a
you
sheesh
know,
in chat? Sheesh.
Sheesh.
bang right
Sheesh.
there.
Sheesh.
So if you're ever thirsty, that's the one.
That for those listening on Spotify, that was a beautiful picture in the shape of the heart.
With blue.
And here I have a little bowl that I have, right?
Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa.
Ooh.
This is the sparkly
Yeah.
middle.
Guys, I would like to
So
point out
that's
I
that Josh
love
J made all of this with his mouth.
I did.
oh
I
oh
tasted the clay before I make it, always.
oh oh.
Yeah, you gotta test for quality. It make sure it's pure. So
Hold on, is this
I
are
don't
you
do
saying
drugs,
that
by the way.
professional pottery people, what do you even call it?
Potters.
Potters,
I
professional
was
Mhm.
potters,
Clayist.
clayists. Do they taste the texture of the clay in order to
Yeah,
test the
you just want to
quality?
make
Yeah.
sure it's pure what you're getting out of the box.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, same
I
way
Uh,
heard
as
like
drug dealers do that too. You know, they taste
yeah,
like
disclaimer,
cocaine.
I don't do drugs. I know I look
mm,
like it, but I don't.
hmm.
Contrary to popular belief, I don't.
I see chat.
Um,
There's a lot of question marks by Spooky and Brighton and Jonathan. You guys, please show a bit of respect to the Potter. He's sharing us,
oh, this
all of his expertise.
this sparkly middle is actually a glass marble from the dollar store that you
Oh.
just
Oh,
and then it melts in the kiln and it forms this glass crackly bottom.
Yeah.
It's
did
very
you say
interesting.
killing?
Kiln, yes. So that's like
Kiln.
it's like the giant oven that you fire the pottery in.
Oh,
So
Ooh.
it
I've seen
heats
it
up
in
to about
my true crimes. That's where they always die.
oh
Yes.
my.
That's where they always shoot them in. Like, where are you gonna dispose of a dead body? You put them in the thing.
That's
Wherever there's
wow.
The
fire.
kiln it heats up to 1800 degrees Celsius. So
Yeah.
Dang,
very possible, very possible.
this is so funny. This is,
Follow
since
up
that is,
question: have you thrown a dead body in there before?
you
Yeah, that's
ever
another
been
question I
asked?
can't answer right now.
Okay.
I don't work for
Maybe
RCMP
after,
yet, so I can't hold you against that word. Just so you
True,
know.
but this is recorded, so I don't want to incriminate myself.
Wow,
Oh my
those are some pretty impressive pieces though. Like, are you planning
Thank
on
you.
selling your
Yes,
pottery?
yes. I've been like recently I've been going on walks and planning out this pottery business past like 3 weeks, just like every night.
Ooh.
This is another one, by the way. So I've been
Ooh, that
planning
looks like the
out what.
sun.
It's very interesting. This one. This is one I would never sell because it's.
Why?
Wow.
I like
That
I
that
that
one
just
looks
one.
loved
really
it.
cool. Those on Spotify. This is bowl. It's a bowl. It has
Yes,
like a
that's it's like
really
a bowl. Yes.
cool design. How do you make those designs?
Yeah, that was my
It's
question.
it's like the way it was fired in the kiln.
Mm-hmm.
My ceramics teacher, we did this like we used special glazes,
Yeah.
Okay.
and the technique is they hold it at a certain temperature and then let it cool and then hold it at that temperature. So then you get these like crystals, which is these green things.
Yeah.
So
They
you
look like
can't really
flowers.
plan where it goes, right? It
Yeah, it's
kind of
very
just.
random, so it's a big surprise when it comes out of
Oh,
the
that's
kiln.
cute. I like that. So
Yeah.
when are you holding
That's
pottery
awesome.
classes? I want in.
Soon I will be teaching too, like at my house.
For
Okay,
real?
great.
So
I'm
I
coming, dude.
will someday. Like I'm gonna buy another wheel and then I could teach a couple people at the same time.
Max, we're buying you a
That'd
Dang.
be
plane
really
ticket. We're
fun.
doing a podcast session, just us doing pottery.
It's gonna be a disaster, bro. It looks so difficult, like so
It
precise, and I
is,
don't think
I've
you'll
but
only
master it.
seen it
it's
in
just
like love
practice. It's
movies
just
or rom
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
coms.
There's that one movie. I forget what it's like. It's called Ghost or something.
Yeah,
What?
yeah,
There's that
the iconic scene.
that scene. Yeah,
Is that a
Yeah,
rom com?
I haven't watched that movie,
I don't
but
know. I haven't seen the movie, but I know it from like you know the show Community.
Yeah, me too. Oh my god. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's like,
Then
I can
there's
make
like
it
the
better than
strict
you.
there's like a strict rule where you're not allowed to do like the ghost scene,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
then
yeah.
or
Or
you
you
get
get
an
banned.
F.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And there's like that
Yes.
perfect guy in there, and then he's always like, "Why is he so perfect?" Blah, 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 blah. He's like also a doctor or something. You guys
That's
haven't
right.
watched
That's right.
Community? It's such a good show. You
It's
should
a
watch
funny
it.
show. It's a funny show. So your business, Josh, can you tell us a
mhm.
bit about it? Like what do you plan on doing?
The plan is to just start selling here and there on Instagram,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
just using that first, and then once it gets more traction, I plan on doing like a big sale right before Christmas, like mid-November on Etsy.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it's like perfect time right before the holidays. You can get like a
yeah,
Christmas gift for someone that you want. So that's pretty much the plan. And then
nice.
also making content, pottery content, maybe like TikTok content. That's
Dude,
We love it.
pottery.
I feel like you could really blow up. Like when you did that one pottery stream, that
hmm
was amazing. Like that was so fascinating to watch.
it's so fun. Yeah, and it's like soothing. It's like very
Yeah.
satisfying to watch too.
How long does
Also,
So,
it
like
take you to make a piece?
if I were to make like maybe like a little bowl, like this bowl,
Yeah.
a little bowl, it would probably take like 7-ish minutes, 6 minutes.
I thought you were gonna say hours. I was like,
Just,
God damn.
but then you have to wait for it to dry, and then you have to
Yeah.
trim it,
and then
and
you also
Mm.
then
have to like put it in the fire, right?
yeah,
The incinerator.
twice.
With the
Yeah,
dead people.
twice
Yeah,
in the
yeah, yeah,
incinerator, and
yeah.
each incineration takes 2 days
2 days.
2 days.
to fire. Yeah, so it takes 12 hours to fire, and then 12 hours to cool, because you can't just like take it out because it's so hot.
What the? Oh my goodness.
It's a
So,
big weight.
how
Yeah.
much do you have to check on it within those 12 hours? Or do you just leave it
Um,
in there and you're like, YOLO, see you tomorrow?
there's like a computer that like you can have it fire to certain temperatures and
Yeah.
then hold at certain temperatures automatically, like electric
Mm.
kilns,
Oh, so like
and then
3D printer
cool.
kind of thing. Like you just kind of like leave
Yeah.
it by itself and yeah.
Yes.
3D printer kind of thing.
I
I
see
was
it on
like,
TikTok all the
what do you-
time. They're like, "Oh yeah, I'm just gonna leave the live here. If you want to see the finished product, like just check out the live." And I was like,
oh,
"Yeah,
yo,
nobody got time for that, dude."
Josh, that's what you have to do. You have to set up your phone to watch the incinerator, the kiln.
Exactly. It's like orange hot in there. It's very cool.
Oh
There's
really?
like
And you
peepholes.
own
Yeah.
one? You
I
own one?
don't. No, this is very
Ooh.
Oh
expensive, so I'm going to be taking my pieces to a studio and
yeah.
then just renting out their kiln.
So is it similar to
Okay.
like when they basically play with like metal or glass? You know how they heat it up to the point where it's like basically red, and then they start
hmm
banging or like pulling or whatever.
Yeah, there's a lot of kilns that you can use it for glass, like
Yeah.
sculpture and stuff, and you can use it for pottery as well.
hmm
Um, Yeah, because they heat up to like roughly that really high temperature that you need. So
Hmm.
So,
yeah,
Well,
deep question. What is your favorite part about pottery? What makes you love this thing so much?
my favorite part about pottery is
the pot.
probably
The
the
pot!
pot. Yeah, there's so many like jokes to be made. Um,
Being called a clayus.
like being yes, I really don't like that word, but
The
yeah,
fact that
sure.
Clay rhymes with your middle name, you know.
Yeah, that's true. Um, what was I gonna say? My favorite part about pottery is I like lost my whole train of thought. Um,
Yeah, why do you like it so much?
it's just like it's such an escape because when you're throwing, okay, in psychology we call this a peak experience. It's where you're kind of zoned out and you're just so focused on what you're doing. Like
Hmm.
maybe you're watching a movie, that's a peak experience because you get sucked into the storyline of the movie. That's an example. Or when you do yoga.
Hmm.
Um,
Kind of like flow, like the
yeah, exactly.
right.
Yeah. So it's just such a cool way to escape and like it's like a part of my personality at this point.
Mm.
Pottery
That's
and
why
dogs, that's
Josh
like my
J.
entire
Clays.
personality.
Pottery and dogs.
Like I
Girls out
literally,
there, if you like pottery and dogs, Josh
oh, if
J
you have
is
a
your
dog,
man.
oh man. Like I have dog treats. I don't have a dog. I have dog treats just on my
Why?
desk. That's literally m
That
me
is
summed up in one sentence.
He likes to go on
all
his
right.
walks, think about pottery, bring the dog treats, and set like
So
in
you can
case he
feed
sees
the
a dog.
dogs.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, dog
Exactly.
treats," but have no dog.
Look at, and I have this book that Max got me for Christmas. Pottery and
Right.
dogs make me happy. Like, if that doesn't prove my point, I don't know what
That's
does.
literally you.
Well, Josh, a topic that we wanted to get into because I think it's really interesting that you have this hobby.
Hmm.
That's kind of more than just a hobby for you, right? It's also a part of, like as you said, it's part of your identity. Very clearly, you're very passionate about it. But
Hmm.
this isn't something that you're planning to do, um, like as a career or as a profession, right? I
No.
guess on one side, I assume it's not the easiest profession to get into. There's not a lot of potters out there.
Yeah.
Um, doing it full time. And you're going into psychology, which I'm sure you're also very interested in, and you want to
Hmm.
go into sports psychology. So I was
Yes.
wondering if you wanted to share your thoughts on that. I know you have some ideas already about like the idea of following your passion.
Right. Yeah. So passion, so there's passion and then there's your purpose.
Hmm.
Do you guys know like the difference between passion and purpose?
I think so, but
If
like for me, it's like passion is something. Uh, Passion is like an emotion almost, like something you feel is really important to you. Um,
mm,
but that's different from purpose where uh, there's like it's more than just a feeling, like you're having a like an effect on other people.
yes,
um,
exactly. Like passion is what you love to do, you know, like your
Mhm.
makes you you and the things you love to do. And then purpose is uh how you serve others in your
Mhm.
life. That's your
Mhm.
purpose. So my whole idea, like my life philosophy is like having your passion fuel your purpose and having them connect.
Mhm.
And like I think a great example is Kurt the violinist, if you don't know, big fan.
Big
Um
fan. Okay.
his passion is playing the violin, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then how does he serve others? He entertains and right? Like he's
Yeah.
connected his passion to his purpose.
Yeah.
And then there's also like this third thing that I like to make it to a triangle is monetization because we all have bills that we have to pay. So I think that's the key is like to have a fulfilled life is you connect your passion to your purpose and then you make money off of it. And then that's
Mm.
how you just live a very fulfilled and happy life, you know?
Have
Well,
you ever
I
thought about becoming a philosopher? Because you know Plato would be proud.
He would be,
He
right?
would like that triangle.
well, I mean, it's in theory, it seems very, I guess, appealing, but I mean, there's you hear all the time people saying like you should follow your passion, and
Hmm.
you follow uh, your passion becomes your purpose, and then you can also monetize it. Like,
Hmm.
but do you believe like that's the best way to go about it? Is find out what you really really enjoy and just pursue that as a career?
I think yes, but it's not always like possible because I mean, maybe you're pursuing acting because that's your passion, but then you
Mhm.
also have to work as like a waiter or waitress
Yeah.
to pay the
Yeah.
bills while you're working on your passion, while you're working on your career. So it's
Hmm.
not always a reality where you can just solely focus on your passion
Yeah.
Mhm.
because it's not making any money yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's also that aspect.
Right.
But I think it's important to start with your passion because if you start with like let's say you start a YouTube channel and you want to be famous and you want to make money,
Yeah.
but you don't really have a passion for making videos,
Mhm.
Yeah.
in the long term, it's just not going to work out. So I think it's important
Yeah.
that you start with your passion and just
Hmm.
see where it takes you from
Mm.
there.
Are you ever afraid that if you make your passion into like say a job where you're like where there's the purpose and the money, are you ever afraid you're gonna lose that passion? Because I feel like by doing things over and over again or like being forced to do something, that makes you lose your passion a little bit. And an example of that is like when I was in high school, like I love to draw, I really do, but when I'm forced to draw in an art class, I don't like it. Like I hate sitting
Hmm.
in art class
Really?
and drawing in, yeah, I hate it. I hate art assignments, I hate all that, but drawing on my free time, I love it. Like I
Huh.
think it might be because of the thing where I'm like I'm forced to do something and I have to hand it in and it kind of limits and there's like certain criteria of it and it kind of limits my creativity, but I hate art class. I hate
I
sitting in there
think
and drawing.
actually, you know what I think? I mean, Josh, you're the psychologist, but
Hmm.
uh, my immediate reaction to that is the aspect of purpose. It's like, why are you doing the thing that you're doing? So, if when
Hmm.
you're drawing by yourself, right? What's the purpose of that? It's for your own enjoyment. It's because you want to express yourself in a certain way.
Yeah.
When you're drawing for an assignment, what's the purpose of that? To get a grade or to do whatever like your teacher's telling you. And that
Mhm.
can stifle, I guess, inspiration.
Yeah.
But I think purpose can be framed in different ways. Like it doesn't have to be uh like your immediate reaction.
Mhm.
That doesn't need to be the last thing or the purpose that sets the tone. What I'm saying is like you receive an assignment and
Yeah.
you're like, okay, what's the purpose of this? The purpose is to get a grade, sure, fine. But I can also key into like other more, I guess, attractive purposes, like the purpose of developing myself or
Yeah.
the purpose of expressing myself and apply that to assignments as well. But I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know, Josh, you're the psychologist. What do you think?
I mean, when it comes to like your passion, I feel like if you do it too much,
Hmm.
it can get tiring really fast. Um, I'm a big golf guy, so there's a lot of
Are you
like
now? I didn't know
I
that.
really, yeah, I am. I actually, okay, I broke my hand, right? Before that, I was going to like apply for my license to be a pro so that I can
Huh?
teach golf.
Gee, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I haven't golfed
Multi-talented.
like I haven't been golfing as much, but I'll probably get back into it at some point.
Yeah.
Josh J.
But
Golf.
yeah, my name was JJ Golf in high school. People rarely called me Josh.
No way.
Yeah.
JJ.
I had
Okay.
a YouTube channel where I wore fedoras and a matching polo shirt, and it was a
Get out.
whole yeah, yeah.
You're
It was
literally the country club mascot.
before Josh J, it was JJ Golf.
Oh my god.
It's yeah. Wow, what a
Whoa.
throwback. Oh, like you guys have in the hallway, JJ Golf, JJ Golf
Why don't you call yourself
everywhere.
JJ Clays?
Yeah, now I mean now it's just Josh J, but
Um.
I was gonna say you'll rarely see like professional golfers, their house.
Mhm.
It's rarely like on a golf course, you know? Like they want it
Mhm,
far away from that because they like that escape because it's like what they do day in, day out. It's
Yeah.
like their
mhm,
work.
Yeah.
So separating work from like your life, very important because
mhm.
that can have an effect on how passionate you are about what you do.
Yeah.
That's
If it's
true,
like all
actually.
the
Yeah.
time, yeah.
Hmm.
Do you
What
think
do you
you'll
think?
lose your passion for pottery if you make it into a job?
Um, well, I feel like personally, pottery would never be the only thing I do. Like it wouldn't just be my only job.
Yeah.
It could be like a hobby where it's like another stream of income that I
Mhm.
just do for fun.
Hmm.
Um, like right now, I can really only my like pottery studio is like on the balcony,
Mhm.
so I can't really make pottery in the winter.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna be making it in the summer.
Right.
Mm. Gives you a little bit of a
So
break.
yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What do you think about, like, there's a famous phrase, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life, or something like that?
Hmm.
I mean, I I watched a TED Talk, and it kind of really opened my eyes to this kind of idea of following your passions and whatever. The guy basically said, "Don't follow your passions." That was his,
Interesting.
I guess, message, because he said
Interesting.
that your passions, like, if you follow your passions, you're eventually gonna it's eventually gonna be the thing that you're not passionate about anymore, because passions, like that, as I said before, it's kind of an emotional thing, right? And
Hmm.
but instead, what he said is, you pursue what you're good at, because you will
Mm.
always enjoy doing work well.
That's true.
So, like, um that's kind of, I thought that was an interesting take, at least this TED Talk guy made. Um, that you shouldn't be following your passions just because they're your passions, but you should be following, like, you should be pushing towards what you're good at and aiming to always improve yourself. And then eventually you will become passionate about it, because, hey, like, you're good at it. And then,
Hmm.
as you said before, purpose, right? You can see your purpose a lot clearer, because assuming that it's an act of service, as most professions are, you can see how that helps other people.
That's a
Yeah.
very interesting perspective. So he wants you to follow what you're good at, not
Hmm.
necessarily your passion.
Yeah. I mean, your passion
Interesting.
will always be your hobby. Like you said, like,
Hmm.
you're doing pottery, and we're doing this cast pod. Like, there's no way, like, Lowell and I, like, I don't see us, like, going full-time podcasters. Like, that's
Hmm.
even
Well, you
podcasters
never know. You never know.
do their own thing.
Yeah, we never know
Um,
what's gonna happen, but from
Yeah.
the way we're standing at it, we're probably
yeah.
not gonna drop out of school and become podcasters.
Dude, imagine
Hmm.
though. Holy,
That'd
that'd
be
be something else.
hilarious.
Cast potters. Damn.
Just
We'll be the next mythical mornings.
Yeah,
yeah. I
exactly.
wonder though, like, it must be so wild, because their job is to have interesting conversations that other people can listen to and appreciate, right? That's a
Hmm.
lot of podcasts are like that. But then that's your work. So does that
Hmm.
mean having interesting conversations you can't have in order to have the separation of work and your home life? I can't, like, imagine if we go pro. Like, I can't talk to Lowell only on I can
Yeah.
only talk to you on podcast
Every
days.
day
Yeah,
he's
that's a
like,
good point.
"This is a good topic. Save it for the podcast."
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's like, "Don't talk about it.
Like
Not right now." And the podcast. This would be a great
exactly.
topic.
That actually does happen with people who have their own like podcasts that are
Yeah.
like
Really?
really high up there. They're like, "Stop, save it for the podcast. We'll talk about it on the podcast."
Then what do they ever talk about? Like, hey, how's the weather?
Just daily life stuff.
Do you think
But like, yeah, they
professional
save their stories for the podcasts that they do.
Whoa.
do you think professional podcasters just like run out of social battery by the time they're done? Cause like me at work, you have to be so, like, especially in customer service, you have to be so social and blah blah blah. By the time I get home and Walter's like, "Oh yeah, let's go hang out with blah blah blah," and I'm like, "I'm tired, man." And he's
Mhm.
like, "Why are you so antisocial?" And I was like, "I spent 8 hours being social, and you want me to talk even more?" I was like, "I'm
Yeah,
done,
Mm.
dude."
Mm.
it's draining. So,
Yeah. Josh, do you have a social battery? I feel like you don't have a social battery.
um, honestly, making people laugh just gives me life. So
Oh, yeah.
that is my battery. Like making Lowell cry, it gives me joy. a
I'm on
lot.
the
Josh
OG list.
You
J
know,
is a professional Lowell cry maker.
it's
I
some say it's
throwback
my passion.
to throwback to when we used to do like the late night Jackbox games because we all met, all three of us met at the beginning of the pandemic, and met through mutual friends and whatnot, which is kind of wild. But we spent a lot of
Mm-hmm.
time online playing games,
Mm-hmm.
and one of my favorite moments during like those late nights playing games, we played Jackbox games, and we had to give it was that presentation
I know
game.
exactly which one you're talking about.
It was a presentation game where I was controlling the PowerPoint, but Josh didn't know what the PowerPoint was, and you ended up making it about Sack's underwear, and that
Mm-hmm.
became like the meme of the server for the longest time.
It was
Yeah.
so good. Like,
It was so good that
I clipped it. I have it on my Twitch channel still
oh
there.
yeah,
Just the highlight of that presentation.
it
it
I
was
was
watch it
so
sometimes
good.
and it's
so
so
good.
funny.
It's so funny, and Lowell's like crying in the
I
background,
cried
like
so hard. I can list like all the
Like
times Josh had made me
10
cry.
like 10, 15 seconds into that presentation, Waldo Lowell were just crying
It
already.
was
Like
so funny. Like,
it
if you
was
know,
so
you know. But
good.
like, dude, that presentation was like off the charts. I've never laughed
the
so
improv was
hard.
crazy.
Yeah.
Where can people find this clip?
On Josh
Twitch.tv
J
slash Josh
games.
J Games.
Yeah.
I guess it's Josh J. Clay now, but
Josh J Clay. I guess you changed your name, eh?
I
I
specifically
did,
remember
yes.
like two times that has made me laugh till I cried. One of them was that one because that one was just like completely off the charts.
Yeah.
The second time was when we made him go on the dating show, and
Oh
he
my
said that.
goodness.
Oh my
I
gosh.
forgot about that.
Josh, do you wanna hit him with a line?
Okay, hold on. Before you hit him with the line, like explain to the people listening, like what exactly happened.
Oh, that dating show? How did that even happen?
I think
I don't even
from
remember.
my understanding, someone in our friend group found this
Michael.
Twitch channel. Was it Michael?
Michael's the
Yeah,
And
Michael.
mastermind.
the the content of this Twitch channel was just like I think she was like an attractive woman who just had people on her show to speed date her. Was that it?
It's kind of like she was
Yeah.
doing like a subscriber interview kind of thing, like a speed dating
Yeah.
kind of way. It was known to be a dating show.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So
So somehow Michael finds this channel, and I did he ask you before he signed you up?
I don't think he did. I think I was tossed into the deep end here, and
It's like,
he subscribed to her channel. Like he just I don't know if he
just
uses
to put
Twitch
him on,
Prime
just to
just
put
to
him
put
on.
me on the show.
and that was that was
We
hilarious
were
because
all
you
And
went on the
streaming.
show, and what was the question? The question, you had to give your best pickup line. You had to show off, right?
Well, all of us in the chat were like, "Josh, hit him with the line. Josh, hit him with the
Oh,
line." Because while we
the
were
pickup line.
yeah, while we were streaming Fall Guys, I don't know how it got to this topic, but we were just talking and he hits us with the line and we're like, what the hell? And we could not stop laughing. And we're like, yo, hit him with the line, hit her with the line, dude.
and what was the line?
The line it
Give
was
us the pickup line.
You gotta
the
stare
line
into your
was
camera.
zoom it in like
Yeah,
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 zoom it in. Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
mmm. Damn. So
Look at the
the
camera. Look at the
line,
camera.
the line was the line was, "Are you from Illinois? 'Cause you're the only ill I know." And that was the line.
And she
Makes
literally
no
looked at you
sense.
like, what?
There was silence for a solid 5 seconds. She didn't get it at
I didn't
all.
get
Like
it.
She
she
was
didn't
doing like,
understand.
It
And then
makes no
the
sense.
worst part was she made me explain the joke. That
she's
is the
like,
worst. When you have to explain, hey, this joke you just said, I don't get it. Why is it funny? Please explain.
I think
That is the worst.
the worst part is we don't have an explanation.
It's- People are
I had
gonna
to be
listen to
like,
this and be
you know
like, "What's
that
so funny
classic,
about that? That's so dumb."
you know, I had to literally be like, you know the classic like pickup line? Are you from Tennessee? Because you're the only 10 I. Oh, it was. I hate explaining. Oh my gosh.
It was
Oh my
so
goodness.
funny. I cried so hard at that. It was unbelievable.
Dude, everyone was watching it and everyone was dying. Holy, I remember my stomach, you know when you laugh so hard
Yeah.
that your stomach
It's
hurts
like an ab
and you think
workout, yeah.
you're
Yeah.
gonna die because you can't breathe.
It's so funny
Yeah.
that she didn't get it because everyone were like, "Bring Josh back! Bring Josh back!"
Yeah, just an entertainer at heart.
It was so
In fact,
good.
that dating show was so good. Michael put me on another dating show.
Oh,
Did you
did he?
guys? Yeah, he did.
I didn't
This
know
one
that.
had 20,000 viewers. And I was like, Michael, how am I even on this show? What do you do? How many times did you subscribe? Like,
How many
did you
gifted
donate a grand
subs?
or something? Like, what did you do to get me on this show? Why are we doing this?
So did you get
Oh
any
my
out of?
goodness.
Did you get any dates out of it?
No, just some, just I just made Lowell cry, so I was fulfilled. That was like, check the box right there. That's all I needed.
Oh my
On the
goodness.
topic of
That's
dating, do you believe in soulmates? Like,
Oh,
we had this briefly before we went live. We were
yeah.
discussing different things we can talk
So
about. That was a great transition, by the way,
yeah,
Lowell.
literally like backstory on this. It's because I was at work and like this whole like my coworker all of a sudden was like, "Hey, do you believe in soulmates?" And I was like, what? It's like we're selling phones. How did soulmates get into this all of a sudden? I was like, all right, are you this bored? I was like, sure, okay, well, I'll entertain this thought. And basically, I guess I had this whole podcast warm up at work, and then we went down this whole lane of soulmates, and he searched it
Okay.
up on Google and defined
Yeah.
soulmates for me because I was like, so what do you actually define soulmates as? And he searched it on Google. So I was like,
Well,
save it for the podcast, you know?
save it for the podcast. Lowell, what do you
Exactly.
think? Like, okay, define soulmates first for us, and then we can
yeah.
discuss it.
Well, he defined it in a way that I don't really agree with. He kind of
Okay.
defined it as, at first, he defined it as someone you can't see your life without. And I agree with that one. But then when he searched it on Google, someone else kind of said, it's someone that um, not only understands what you feel, but feels what you feel. And then that completely threw me off track. I was like, what does that
Oh,
even
but
mean?
that's like empathy, right? It's like when
Yeah,
you're sad, I'm sad.
yeah, and then
Mhm.
so I was like, so, but to me that doesn't make sense because logically, if you were to feel what someone else feels in a situation, you would have to go through something similar. You know what I mean? You can't, to the same extent, feel what they exactly feel, kind of thing. You know? And his whole thing's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
you don't need to know the reason; they just feel what you feel. And then
Mm-hmm.
so I did not understand it because like without the reason, you can't really empathize. You know what I mean? Like if I was
I
just sad and then they
yeah.
didn't really know the reason, it's like it's really hard to empathize that way, you know?
Uh, I think it's possible. I mean, if you don't need to know the reason in order to feel sad when your friend is sad, for example, right?
Well, I just
Like,
think like it's almost basic human instinct to basically feel empathy. You know, like if you see
yeah,
someone sad, you'll feel some kind of emotion, but to understand exactly how they feel is like a whole different concept to me, you know? Like
sure.
the concept of like if you're sad, I could feel sad, but I won't exactly know to I guess
Mm.
what extent you feel
But yeah,
sad or exactly
I
sad guilt or whatever, right?
mhm. I okay, but going back to because this is the definition of soulmate that you're using, but I'm not really sure if I agree with that. I mean, first of all, just to get this out there, I don't believe in soulmates. But I always consider soulmates from a romantic perspective, right? Obviously, maybe that was assumed by the definition. Otherwise, that definition you provided, like, could be put with like best friends as well, right? But I
Mhm.
always understood soulmates as like some sort of destination, like destiny involved, right? or is that not part of the definition?
Yeah, so that's why I said I don't really fully agree with that kind of definition of soulmates. My kind of version, like I see soulmates kind of like differently. I know there's like this stigma or stereotype where it's kind of like soulmates are, I guess people wanna, you're a psychologist or like you major in psychology, so correct me if I'm wrong, but people like to believe that they have some, like someone destined for them, someone made for them, you know? It's kind of the same way as how we all want to think that we come into this life with a purpose, you know? So it's not
Hmm.
like we ever have that loss of hope that, oh, someone isn't destined for you or we'll never find someone, right? By having like, oh, there's soulmate, that's kind of implying that there's someone out there for you, made for you, specifically for you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of gives you a little bit of hope, a little bit of, you know.
Mm-hmm.
um so that's always what I understood soulmates as. But I don't know, because when he first asked me this question, I didn't even really know if I believed in soulmates.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, it's like, what really is soulmates? You know what I mean? Who's to say one person's our soulmate but another person isn't? And how can we tell if they are our soulmate or not? Right? So,
Hmm.
You know it when you know, man. When
yeah,
you
whenever they say that,
when you
I'm
When you
like,
live
know,
it,
you
how are
know,
you even
you
bro.
supposed to
know
know?
it.
So we kind of talked through this definition, and there's this other girl with me who she basically said that her soulmate's her boyfriend because if they ever broke up, she doesn't ever feel like she can ever give that same love to someone else because I guess she'll be so heartbroken or whatever, right?
Hmm.
So I guess I understand it in a way where soulmate's someone who you can't see a day without, you know, like the all the
Yeah.
future days that you have, like you always see them in your future, you don't
Hmm.
ever see yourself living without them, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I
I
see it.
have something to say about that, but I want to let Josh J Games slash Josh J Clay slash Josh J Golf JJ Golf give his take on
There's
this.
there's like that perspective, like, do you believe in one soulmate or multiple soulmates, or you don't believe that soulmates exist at all? So there's that. And then in relation to what your friend said, um it's very true. Like the way you loved maybe your an ex-girlfriend or ex-boyfriend, um, it will never be the same as the way you love a future partner, because
Hmm.
that's just how it is. Like the way you love it, it's like a different dynamic that each relationship has, and then you have to learn to love that person in a certain way.
Hmm.
So I don't know if that's like related to soulmates. Um, yeah, I
Hmm.
don't know. I've never really
No, that's
thought
a good
about
point.
like soulmates
Yeah.
because I feel like there's multiple people. I've always said that like any relationship, pretty much any relationship can work if both people put in like the maximum amount of effort and the maximum amount of compromise. I feel like any relationship can work.
Hmm. That's actually like that's an interesting,
Yeah.
I guess, perspective to have. Is that really it comes down to like how much effort you're putting into the relationship. I think like it's that being said, obviously there's certain temperaments that are more compatible with others. Like there's the whole compatibility thing. I think when we're talking about soulmates, it people are talking about, as I think Lowell mentioned this before, another person who is made for you, right? Somehow perfectly compatible with you, and therefore conflict is almost like doesn't exist. Like you guys get each
Hmm.
other, you
Mhm.
guys perfectly sympathize with each other,
Yeah.
uh, and so, but I think um and also the fact that you cannot see uh, a life without your soulmate, right? But I think the problem with that is, well, people I feel a lot of people will empathize with the situation of after a really harsh breakup where you feel that, like, say you're the one dumped, you feel like I can't see a life without her or him, right? And you'll experience that. It's I believe like that was my soulmate. Obviously not, because you guys are broken up now, right? Um,
Mm.
so I think this idea of the soulmate can lead to um, I guess, unreasonable expectations, and also all really excellent relationships will face conflict, right? And as you're saying, Josh, good relationships ultimately come down to like the work you put into it, right?
Hmm.
So I don't know. And also I'm also generally opposed to the idea
Mhm.
of destiny. So
Yeah.
like
So
I do think there are people created who are really compatible for you,
yeah,
and you should definitely look for those people. But I think the idea of soulmate, of like perfect synergy
yeah.
and destiny, I reject.
Yeah, that's why I don't know if I like when he first posed a question. Like I said, like I don't know if I believe in soulmates because that implies or assumes that I have to believe that we all have a paved path or we all have a written story already, right?
Hmm.
And I used to believe that, but I don't know if I still do. In high
Hmm.
school, I used to believe that all the time, and I used to be like, oh yeah, like we all have a path and we're just living it. Like all our decisions have already been made, kind of thing. And I don't know
Hmm.
if that's necessarily true. Like the way I thought in high school is like completely different to the way I think now. So, um, I don't necessarily know how I feel about it anymore. But the guy who originally posed this question, he was talking about how your soulmate is someone who like you guys have similarities, you guys have the same passion and blah blah blah, all this stuff. And I was like, oh cool, so it's basically like dating yourself, right? I was like, you're
Oh,
dating you but in a different person. And then I was like, so and then I brought up the question of like, okay, so if that's the case, right, there would be no conflict, right? So you're saying it's someone you don't fight with. And then he's like, no, but you know, there's up and downs in every relationship. And then that's when I don't understand anymore. And then
yeah.
so I posed the question, I was like, so do you think your girlfriend's your soulmate? And then he was like, no, I don't. And I was like,
Oh,
what the hell?
oh,
That's where I was like, okay. And then
okay.
he was like,
That is so problematic.
yeah,
Holy
I was
moly.
like,
Damn.
okay.
As they're definitely not staying together.
Yeah, and then so he was like, but then his whole thing was like, oh yeah, my girlfriend knows that I don't think she's my soulmate, and she doesn't feel the same about me. And I was like, okay, well this
So,
took like a very weird turn. And then he went to say like, so only about 0.01% of people find their soulmates, or like a very small percentage of people find their soulmates, and you're lucky if you do. And I'm like,
huh.
shouldn't you feel a type of way being in a relationship like you have a soulmate? Like sometimes I think soulmate's just a concept, you know, for
Hmm.
when people are just so in love that they're like, oh, this person I feel like is made for me, but there's no actual thing that's a soulmate. Because like
Hmm.
Warpin said in chat, like don't we all say this stuff when we're in a relationship? Like, oh, we don't see a
Yeah.
life without these people.
Yeah.
Unless you really just don't like the person, then that's a whole different story. Like we don't talk about
Yeah,
that. But we're talking
yeah.
about
Hmm.
good, healthy relationships here.
Yeah.
Like these
Yeah.
are all things we say, right? We don't imagine another future with someone else, like because that's what we're trained to do. We're trained to be loyal, right? We're trained to
Hmm.
be monogamous and
Yeah.
stuff like that, right? So the concept of soulmate, that's why I want to bring it up, because it really boggles my mind just by today.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get
Yeah.
Josh
Yeah, I
J's
think
take.
I think your coworker's talking about like the soulmate, like your destined like the perfect tailored
Yeah,
person, zero conflict, whatever.
yeah.
But I
Yeah.
mean, the rest of us live on planet Earth, and so
Yeah.
When he
I
first
think
said
maybe she's
that,
like they're talking about like just being very deep in love with someone and
yeah,
just
right?
a heavy infatuation for that person.
When he
Mhm.
first
And you
said that, I was like, I'm not religious. I was like, that's the first that came into mind. I was like, I'm not religious. He's like, oh, I know. And I was like, okay.
Is your friend religious?
He's Tibetan, so he has his like own religion. He is religious, but he has kind of his own
Yeah, yeah,
religion.
yeah.
But the first thing with soulmates that came up to me was like religion, because usually
Hmm.
soulmates are kind of associated with religion and destiny and all
Yeah,
that stuff. So I was like, I'm not religious, and I thought that spoke for itself, but I guess not.
right. That's interesting because I'm quite religious, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So like I believe that sure, like God has a plan, and that perhaps like He has a plan for like a specific person that you should be with, um, but that's that person, like you also live with complete freedom, like your
Mhm.
freedom to choose, right? And the concept of God's plan, I mean, obviously that will take up like several hours of building up to that.
Hmm.
Maybe we can talk about that another time because that's
God's
a pretty
plan.
interesting one.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about Drake. I'm talking about
We start off the episode with Drake's song.
God's plan.
Yeah, and today we're talking about God's plan.
Yeah,
God's plan.
but successful relationships come from like hard work, right? And
Hmm.
dedication, loyalty, virtue, and like it's not going to be like you're not going to. And also the idea of destiny, I feel like contradicts the concept of freedom.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
Because if we have if we're some Christians actually do believe in like predestination,
Yeah.
which uh, I struggle to understand because like my denomination of Christianity believes in that we're all free,
Yeah.
and if you have a destiny, then how can freedom work with that, right? Because
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
have to
How
make
can
your
you
own
make a
choices. It's
choice?
not
Yeah.
like there's a script, right? Um, but that's why I reject destiny, because the idea of destiny is like you don't actually have freedom.
Mhm.
Instead, you're just following a script. We're just robots, um, like puppets, and God's the puppet master. I don't agree with that idea.
Is that related to free will, or is that
Yeah,
separate? Yeah. It's free.
yeah,
So you believe we do have free will?
exactly. Yeah.
Interesting.
What about you?
Um. Well, this last semester I took this is really interesting. It was a neuroscience
Hmm.
psychology course.
Yeah.
And right now there's this big debate whether or not free will exists
Hmm.
from a like a biological perspective because they've done
Hmm.
tests where they're looking like the live feed of your brain, and
Hmm.
then they'll ask you to like pick up this jar, right? This
Hmm.
jar, pick it up and then put it back down. And then before you actually do it, there's like an action potential that fires, so your neuron is firing before you
Hmm.
even do it. So it's like we're being controlled by our own cells. So before
Hmm.
I wanted to pick this up, my brain already wanted to do it. There's like a
Right.
slight lag or a slight delay, which is
Before
pretty
you want,
interesting.
but wouldn't that experiment be before you do the action? You get the
Yes.
neuron. So,
Yes.
I thought that
I
was
mean,
attributed to sending the signal down to your arms. Like it takes time to send the signal down to your arms to pick it up. I thought that's what the leg was attributed to.
I don't know the specifics, but I feel like it's like before that signal even sends. It's there, I don't even know the specific
because
details, but it's like
yeah.
it
Anyways,
happens
I
before you even want to.
before you do, not before you
Yeah.
want to, though, right?
Yeah.
Because how can you tell? How can like an empirical experiment tell whether or not you want to do something?
That's true. I
Also,
So
mean,
what if I didn't want to do it and I was forced to do it because of the experiment?
all
that's
right,
true
well,
again. Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Because like
I
what if
know
they're
a
like
lot
sit
of
down, pick up the cup and I'm like, but I don't want to pick up the
Mhm,
cup, but I have to pick up the cup, you know?
yeah.
True. 'Cause I
A
mean,
lot.
sometimes like Lowell doesn't want to cry, but I make her cry anyways.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Maybe
there's
you
no
don't have
free
free
will there.
will. No
There's
free
no
will.
free will there.
But I think actually, I think there. I mean, I know a lot of psychologists challenge the idea of free will because they really understand how the brain works,
Hmm.
way more than I understand how the brain works.
Me
But I
too.
honestly, I don't see any contradiction between like the different neuron signals going overhead or our human nature to do certain things, like because free will is can be compatible with all of that, right?
Hmm.
Just because I can't control myself when I laugh, like doesn't mean I somehow lose my free will, right?
Yeah.
It's just that there are certain aspects of our being that are out of our control, right?
Hmm.
But that doesn't mean that we can't make decisions for ourselves. Like that's where my mind's at, anyways, about the
Yeah.
topic.
I took a couple psychology classes and I don't
Hmm.
distinctly remember if this was from psychology to be honest with you. It could be some from philosophy. But
Yeah.
Hmm.
Honestly, I think it might be from philosophy now that I think about it. But it was a
It sounds, yeah.
Shut
yeah,
up,
it
Plato.
was the whole concept that religion is just a way for us to cope with certain things, to cope with, say, like death and like other
Yeah,
things that our own human minds cannot properly process. That's why
I heard
religion is
this
there,
too.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I thought that was a very cool concept because I've never
Hmm.
been too much into religion. Like all my life, I've been telling people I'm atheist.
Hmm.
I do believe in a higher power, so I guess I'm like the other one. I don't remember what it's called.
Agnostic.
Agnostic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, and all my life I've been telling people, oh yeah, I'm atheist, I'm whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then I was talking to my mom one day, and I was like, yeah, like I think I was talking to Waldo on the phone. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm atheist, blah blah blah. I don't believe in blah blah blah. And my mom was sitting there, and she's like, what do you mean you're atheist? And I was like, I don't really have a religion. She's like, you're Buddhist, and I was like, what? I
I,
was like,
I
20 years after I was born, you decided to tell me I'm Buddhist. And I was like, what? I was like,
Today, you're Buddhist.
I know. And I was like,
From this moment on.
I remember you telling me about this.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
that
was
you're
like,
Buddhist.
for 20 years, I've been telling people I'm atheist. I was like, I know I go to like the temple and stuff, but that's like to visit like my grandma or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like something our family kind
Okay.
of does. I thought it was
You
culture.
you can't identify as Buddhist if you didn't know you were Buddhist for
That's
20
what
years.
I'm
Like,
saying. I was
Yeah.
like, I can't be Buddhist because I didn't know I was Buddhist.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
but going back to that thing that you said about that religion was invented as a means for us to cope with certain things. Like, I don't know. I find that obviously I'm religious, so this kind of thing is a big no for me.
Well, that's why I brought
but
it up because I've never
yeah,
brought it up to someone who's religious. That's
yeah,
why I wanted to specifically bring it up to you.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I think maybe in another podcast we can dive deeper into it because I don't really know where that comes from. This idea that it seems like a theory without much substance. Like I don't know how you could prove that. I maybe it's because in your brain you might be able to identify like a specific, I guess, um, maybe some sort of need to cope with very difficult questions, and somehow in your brain it showed like in order to fill that need, the thesis is that you make things up to answer those questions.
Hmm.
I mean, a counter argument could be that I don't know, maybe God put that there so that you can have a place for God in your
Yeah.
life. But
Yeah.
I
And
don't know what the theory is, so I can't actually properly
I
respond to it.
think it was something along the lines of like, oh, like we have God to like basically to have that bring hope into our lives that oh we have a destiny, we have a it's funny because you don't believe in destiny, so that's like a whole separate
No.
topic. But
Yeah.
hmm.
most people who are religious believe they have like kind of like a set path, right? Like a destined person, a set path to go by, like you were put here for a purpose, right?
Yeah.
And then
Hmm.
the whole thing behind it is that if people went around feeling purposeless, then it will cause
Mhm.
all these different emotions of like depression, stuff like that. Like, why are we
Mhm.
even here, right? So,
Mhm.
religion kind of is like a placeholder to be like, you have a purpose. You just have to find what it is,
Mhm.
and kind of people just
Mhm.
fill in the blanks after that, right?
Right.
To help
Actually,
Right.
people cope with
I
that.
I think there's a difference though between having a destiny and having a purpose. Because obviously, I do believe that we have a purpose, right? I mean, the word in amongst Catholics is vocation, right? Do you have a calling? God put you on the planet for a reason. And what's that reason? Well, uh, there's different ways you can find out, but it has to come from God. Um, so there's a distinguishing factor there, right? It's now someone might say like, oh, but then wouldn't that just be your destiny? Like you're destined to fulfill fulfill your vocation? It says no, because we actually have the freedom to choose that vocation or not. So destiny, the concept of destiny, from my understanding, is you don't actually have a choice. You just follow the path that is set out for you, kind of like a train and the tracks. But that it's more like the train track analogy is here. It's more like the car analogy on a road where you can actually drive wherever you want.
Hmm.
But maybe the best road, the best path forward is this highway or this road here. And
Right.
and the idea of free will and God's plan is kind of like you're driving around. Obviously, there's Google Maps is telling you the ideal way forward is this path, but there's also other ways that you can get there, and you're allowed to take those paths too. So that's kind of, um, I mean, I don't know. Obviously, they're imperfect analogies. There's a million ways that it doesn't work, but
Yeah.
I I I don't know, Josh. What's your take on all of this?
Um, what I've learned is like people also like the purpose of religion that people use it for is a moral compass.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of guides their lives and how they should live it.
Yeah.
Um, in terms of like your values or what make you you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, like for me, I have like three core values that I always hold dear to me is like empathy, um, integrity, and
Mm-hmm.
humility,
Mhm.
and I
Mm-hmm.
guess honesty as well. It's like anything I do, it's like I gotta, those are the four,
Mm-hmm.
three or four, that I always make sure I uphold.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it's the same for religion. People will use religion to as like a guide when they make any sort of decision. It's like a moral compass. So
Yeah.
there's that
Mm-hmm.
aspect too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I guess there's
Yeah.
like no way to kind of prove all this stuff, right? Like same thing with Max saying like there's no way to prove that religion's just a concept for people to process stuff that they can't process on their own. That's why it remains a philosophical question. You know, it's something for us to think about rather than a straight fact because there's really
Yeah.
no straight answer to it. No one can really say, "Oh, it was made because of this" or "it was made because of that," right? Unless there's
Hmm.
like some evidence out there that we don't know about where they
Mm-hmm.
found like old manuscripts or whatever and they're like, "This is the purpose" or whatever. But other than that, it really remains a philosophical question,
Yeah.
and it's really up to us to make our own like answers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I also wanted to say, like, we're talking about the purpose of religion now. I think, like, for many people, including myself, the purpose of my religion is the fact that it's true. Like, and I think there's something inherently, uh, like, it's intrinsic in all of us to pursue the truth. I mean, the reason why I believe, like Josh, you uh, have identified those four key, uh, I guess, virtues
Hmm.
or morals that you live by is because those things lead to a good, fulfilling life, and one that is the most true, like the best.
Hmm.
And so, um, I think there is something there as well. I just I was someone mentioned the purpose of religion, so I just
Yeah.
wanted to say that too. Like, holy moly, dude, we came into this podcast ready to talk about clay, and we're now discussing like some of the most deepest
Yeah.
questions that
this is
man ever.
the deep podcast
We
talks we were
we
here
went from
for.
like clay to like
Yeah,
passion and purpose and then like
yeah.
soulmates and then like
And then God.
religion and then yeah.
Josh, are you religious? Because I know you came from a private
I
school, but there's a lot of people I know who are like, oh yeah, I'm no longer religious, or like they believe something else or whatever.
yeah. My dad is very religious.
Sorry. I just look at you the background, Lowell, and there's a freaking zombie in the back. And I'm like, we're talking
I
about
can't get
God
rid of that.
and the deepest truths, and then there's just a zombie. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt,
You
Josh.
believe in zombies? The
I'm
apocalypse
sorry.
is coming. That's a sign right
That's for a
there.
different
Oh
podcast.
my gosh. Sorry, Josh. Yeah.
Yeah. My dad is very
Hmm.
religious. Like he prays every morning. Um, my take on religion is it's very I've never really told anyone. Like I just keep it to myself. Um, but it involves believing in multiple religions, so there can be like contradiction, but it's like I go to church and then we all like my family and I we also go to temple for like Hinduism and celebrating different celebrations that happen throughout the year.
Hmm.
So it's kind of a mix of the two.
Hmm.
Because that's just how I grew up because I went to Vancouver College, kindergarten to grade 6, and like we prayed every morning and before lunch and then before we leave school. So it was like
Hmm.
there's that and then my family is comes from a Hindu background, and
Mm-hmm.
then I'm the only Catholic one. So there's like
Mm.
both.
Yeah,
I
I kind of understand that like concept because I guess I'm agnostic more because I don't feel like I should commit myself to one religion because there's not necessarily everything in that one religion that I believe in, right? I kind
Mhm.
of
Mhm.
it's either like I kind of like to pick and choose, right? There's some things I like about some religions, there's some things I believe about other religions, and I kind of mash it up to make my own kind of like list of virtues or morals or beliefs.
Mhm.
So I'm more like that, and that could really come from the fact that um I just don't believe that I should commit to one thing or commitment issues. Like, you know, like there it could
Yeah.
really be with psychology, but I just I just can't be like, "Oh, I believe in everything," cuz I know with some churches or some religions they're very like I don't like gay people, I don't like blah blah blah, trans people, stuff like that, right? And I just don't
Mhm.
personally believe in that, right? So if I was
Mhm.
to commit myself to a religion and for someone of power in my religion or someone who is supposed to be basically like what's it? Basically what's it? Like a power person or whatever. I don't.
Like a person in
Yeah,
authority.
yeah, 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 exactly. Or basically the face of your religion. That's what I meant.
Mhm.
Like the face of what you believe in to be saying this kind of stuff. It's kind of like you're relating to that kind of stuff, but I don't believe in it, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
and religions come from such a long time ago and with society how it's always changing, like our values change
Mhm.
a lot, right? I don't think the same
Mhm.
way I think a long time ago, right? And so
Mhm.
with that, religion doesn't really change much either, you know? It holds
Mhm.
very traditional values.
I find this panel absolutely fascinating because on one hand, like, okay, who do we have? We have someone who believes in the idea of multiple religions,
Mhm.
someone who is agnostic, and someone who is very like I believe in one religion. So
Mhm.
this is like amazing. I and it kind of pains me because we're running out of time. Like we have to wrap up soon.
Yeah.
I think we should definitely dive into this topic like head on in another episode for sure. Because for me, the idea of uh, like I don't think it's possible to be aligned with truth and have multiple religions because for that,
Mhm.
like as you said, Josh, is
There's
contradictions, right?
contradictions. Yeah.
Contradictions is like you can't have contradictions and be like it doesn't work with truth, right? Truth is one, it is simple, it is there's like a degree of perfection to truth, right? So
Mhm.
like for me that doesn't work, nor does like the idea of picking and choosing because I think like one truth um uh, and also if we were talking about a higher power like and if that higher power wills a human institution to exist then it would have to be perfect. Also I think like it's kind of unfortunate but there's a lot of misinformation and misunderstanding about the church and their stance on certain issues, like as you said, uh, uh, the LGBTQ community, right? And I think, I mean, this is one of those topics that think it would be fantastic to discuss because there's so much. I guess it's a hot button topic, and a lot of people are kind of a lot of Christians. I feel like don't want to talk about it because uh, there are unfortunately like homophobic Christians and hateful Christians, and I don't think they do justice to the truth that the church actually stands for. So, mm,
It's kind of like their own interpretation of it, right? It's like what's written in the Bible, but someone interprets it in a way where, oh, we
mhm,
shouldn't accept these kind of people because of this. But then I know with others, there's this part of the Bible where we should love all, you know?
mhm.
Like it's different
Yeah,
interpretations of different parts of the book, and
yeah,
some people use it towards their own kind of beliefs and
yeah,
biases. So it's
yeah,
really hard to say because, especially
yeah,
since they're the face of religion or that certain
yeah.
religion, it's
But
hard
Mhm.
to be like
mhm.
we don't believe in
But
that.
that's precisely why I think religion is important,
Hmm.
and because the religion needs to the church needs, for example, specifically the church, I guess, needs to make it clear what we believe.
Mhm.
There needs to be a very concrete, like for the Catholic Church, we have the Catechism, and we have the Vatican
Yeah.
to help us identify exactly what we believe,
Mhm.
right? And then that prevents people from taking their own interpretations,
Yeah.
uh, maybe like hateful interpretations,
Mhm.
and
Hmm.
bring that out of proportion. And then some people would argue that, oh, well, but the Catholic Church has like hateful teachings. Well, I think that's just a misunderstanding of the teaching,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
think we can go into that in more
Another
detail
episode. Yeah.
another time, because there's just no way I can
Yeah.
I
He has
can
too
Hmm.
much to
talk
say.
this. It's just
There's no
freaking.
chance.
There's no
Well,
chance.
we can move on to
No.
this one thing that's been stuck in my brain this whole time
Yeah.
because during like the first or second episode, we're talking about I guess psychology and how we're nuts, and we wanted to bring a psychologist on to tell us
Oh
how
my
nuts we
god.
are.
Mm.
So
Oh
we
my
do
god, you're
have a
right.
psychology major here today,
Oh.
so he can evaluate us and tell us how
You want me
crazy
to
we are.
psychoanalyze you
Yeah,
guys?
psychoanalyze us, please. This is how we
Whoa.
end the
We have
podcast
literally
episode.
talked about this. I don't know if you were here. It was either our first one, which wasn't recorded, or our second
I
one.
think it was the first one.
But we've talked about bringing in a psychologist to tell us how we are as people and how our brains are, and to basically psychoanalyze us and tell us if
Yeah.
we like belong in a psych ward. Bottom
Yeah.
line.
Interesting. So like
All right.
personality psychology. Okay.
Yeah, tell us. Tell us.
Um, so right now the most popular theory we have for personality is we have five basic traits. Have you guys heard of
Okay.
this? Five basic
Sweet,
personality traits.
sour,
I have not.
salty.
you,
Bubblegum.
you sound like
Uh,
you're listing McNugget sauces. Sweet, sour, spicy,
Wait, am I
they're
wrong?
well, they're
I
called
got it.
barbecue, mayonnaise.
I'm
yeah,
barbecue personality.
I'm like half sweet and sour, half barbecue, depends on the mood, but both are very good. Um these personality traits, they're called the big five personality traits, and like a big good way to remember them is the acronym OCEAN.
Oh,
So there's openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and
mm,
neuroticism.
I have
And
heard of
then
this because I wrote a
you
briefing
have?
note on how it like the military recruitment use of this is not that great.
Yes.
oh,
But
Yeah.
oh.
anyways,
I've
yeah,
never
keep
heard
going.
of this.
So I guess openness. So like there's like personality tests you can do, and then you can see how high or low you rank in each category.
Mhm.
Like openness, like all of those. Um, and there's certain like characteristics people have. Like if you're high in neuroticism, they're usually someone who is like maybe they post a lot of gym selfies. Like that could be someone who's neurotic, or there's a
Guess
lot of
I'm
like
not neurotic.
there's
So everyone in
yeah, a lot of
2021,
people.
everyone.
Narcissism is on the high, actually, more
Yeah.
than it's ever been, which is pretty
Hmm.
interesting. I learned that.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, there's a lot of negative characteristics that are aligned with being neurotic.
Yeah.
Um, like how moody you are and reactive you are to things. And then like extroversion is it's not so much being outgoing, but like seeking out social cues.
Mm.
So like it it gives you energy, being at a party,
Yeah.
socializing, being out with people.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, let's see what else. We have there's conscientiousness,
Mhm.
how aware you are of not only yourself but the people around you.
Yeah.
Um, openness to new experiences is what
Oh,
openness
okay.
is. So like I don't know, like trying new things, so like maybe food,
Mhm.
Starting a
um,
podcast.
Yeah.
starting a podcast, yeah, like putting yourself getting out of your like comfort zone.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, feel free to take like a personality test with those
Have
and
you
just see
What
how
about
ever
high
what
you.
taken one?
what? Hmm?
I feel like if you Google one, there's like one main one, and then if you Google it, I'm not sure what it's called,
have you
but
yourself taken one though, like for class or something?
I think I have a while ago. I don't really remember my what it was.
Uh-huh.
Aiken in chat. Okay, first of all, sorry, it's been a while since we referenced chat. So Kenna is honey mustard. So just want to make that known. And Aiken wants a link to the personality test. Maybe like Josh, if you those listening, if you join the Discord, uh, you can check it. The Discord link is in our about page
Mhm.
on the Twitch. And then Josh, you can like drop the link to a personality
Hmm.
test there, and then you can do it
I
yourself.
also I put a link to the Sax underwear presentation in the general
Yeah.
chat in the
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Discord as well for pleasure viewing later too.
Hey, maybe next time Josh J makes a special appearance, we all take this test and we can literally compare and contrast what we are.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Like
And I
Kenna,
can
I,
psychoanalyze.
oh my god,
there's no
amazing
Discord
actually.
command yet, but we'll put that in ASAP.
Yes. But
That'd be fun.
with criminology, I actually had to take like a bunch of like we do touch a lot on psychology, and I've taken quite a few psychology classes. And there was this one video or documentary that was very interesting. It was about psychopaths, and basically they were telling
Hmm.
us how there's this certain gene in you that makes you a psychopath. And the guy who was
Yes.
yeah, there's a guy who was studying this, and he was basically looking at people's genes, brains, whatever, and he found that every psychopath, mostly serial killers and stuff like that, you can pick them apart just by their genetic makeup. You could see an actual gene that's different from other people that makes
Holy
them the way
moly.
they are. Yeah, and he himself found out that he has that gene. Like he did it on his family, and he found out
Hmm.
he's the one who has that gene, but he didn't
Yeah.
Holy.
turn into a serial killer because of the environment he was placed in. Like
Exactly.
he grew
Yes.
up in a
So,
loving family, so it's like nurture versus nature kind of thing. So
oh.
he
Hmm.
didn't
Aiken
become one. Sorry, go ahead.
Aiken in chat said it's called ripped jeans.
Oh my god.
So
Ripped
fix your
jeans.
jeans,
Yeah.
men
It's from
and
Blue
women.
Notes actually.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
Blue Notes.
hashtag sponsored, hashtag ad. Um,
Oh.
yeah, so like certain
Hashtag not
experiences,
sponsored, hashtag not mad.
disclaimer,
Yeah.
that was a
Disclaimer.
joke. So yeah, a lot of people have like you have that psychopath gene, but then it doesn't get activated because certain experiences have to happen in your life for that
Yeah.
psychopath gene to be like activated. It's
Yeah.
how it like works.
It's like a
Jeez.
predisposition to being a psychopath.
Exactly,
And
yes.
a
Holy.
study found out that the people who like most likely have this gene are like the bosses of top corporate stores, because this
Oh,
gene makes you very good at leadership because of the neuroticism, stuff like that. Like
Hmm.
your
oh,
ego, like your egotistic, so like that, those kind of characteristics come with this gene. But these are the type of traits that you look for in a boss, especially a corporate boss. So they
oh,
found that a lot of bosses, you might even see a lot of psychopaths on the street that you don't even know have this gene. And most of them are
Hmm.
top businessmen who have these genes. Yeah.
oh,
Which I'm
wow.
like, wow, we're walking around psychopaths.
Hmm.
Holy.
The actual
I think
Walking
Wow.
Dead.
a lot of places like for hiring people, they'll make you take a personality test too.
Yeah.
Um, but I think recently, they're deeming that to be unethical. So
Yeah, I
then,
was gonna say that sounds a
yeah,
bit
so
sketch.
I don't think it happens anymore, but
Yeah.
maybe some places still do, but
Yeah.
don't do
Holy
that. If
moly.
just don't do that. It's unethical. It's just not okay. So
So
You tell him, Josh.
yeah,
the big takeaway
just be like,
is
I didn't want this job anyways. Just do that.
the big takeaway of that is, guys, don't be your boss's traumatic experience, because he's gonna come and he's gonna kill you. He got that psycho gene.
Oh, oh.
You
Exactly.
already know. Yeah,
Don't
don't
activate his genes,
activate
man.
it.
His blue nose genes, don't activate
Go
those.
fix those ripped
Yeah,
jeans,
don't
bro.
rip them. Don't rip them. I know there's a slight hole in them. Don't pull them.
Do not do that.
Don't go pulling on
I
the
think
strings.
isn't there also a divorce gene?
I don't
Oh,
know. I didn't hear
please.
I've
about
I
that.
No,
feel
they
like I've heard
cannot.
of a divorce
No,
gene,
Oh my
there's
god.
no way.
I
All
love
right, well, okay,
psychology so
listen.
much.
but
I would love to talk more about divorce, or not
hmm
really, but we've hit the 1 hour and 15-minute mark, I
Yes.
believe. So I think we
Um,
should be wrapping up. But I think we should leave a bit of time
For
for
chat.
chat because that's usually what we do,
The
especially
Twitch
when we have
exclusive.
a
Yeah.
special guest, Twitch exclusive
Yeah.
chat. If you guys have any questions for the legendary Josh J Games / Josh J Clay / JJ Golf or just Josh,
Or
you can
just
leave it in.
Josh. Guys, surprisingly, Josh is very tall. Like you don't
Really?
notice it, and it's strange to me now because now I think he's short again because I've only seen him a couple times, and every time I see him online, he seems pretty short. And then you meet him, and he's like 6 feet tall, and I look up to him like, oh my god,
You're 6 feet?
Hmm. Without shoes. Hmm.
without shoes.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
It's crazy. When you meet him, you'll be like astonished. You're like, holy
Oh
crap.
wow. Maybe I'll be scared.
I was scared.
And I there was a time where I was skinny, but now I'm 200 pounds. So
Debated.
Dude, I do I always feel like meeting like your online friends because I've never met either of you IRL, which is
hmm.
wild.
I'm
And
not that
same
tall.
went for Irene. I've never met her IRL before I came back to Toronto. And it feels a little weird because it's like you played Valorant many times. You've talked to these people
Hmm.
many times. But like meeting IRL I feel like is a different experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
It's crazy
especially
because
when
like
it's
Lowell and I,
Mhm.
we've both been to your house.
Yeah.
I know where your toilet
And
is.
You guys both
dude,
been to
I've
my house,
used your
been to
toilet.
my room,
Peed in the
and I've
toilet.
never met you guys. That's kind of weird.
Played ping pong
Yeah.
at your house.
We've been in your backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel uncomfortable. I'm gonna go now.
I
That's
think
so wild.
it still boggles my mind because what's it? To me, it feels like I know Max for so long, right? It doesn't feel like we've
Mhm.
only met each other a year. Like, if you ask me a bunch of
Hmm.
questions about Max, I could probably tell you, except don't ask me what his favorite color is because I don't know.
What's my favorite color?
I don't know. But
Yes,
green.
Red.
green. Yeah, how'd you? Oh,
You seem
wow.
like a green person. Just
Damn.
Thanks, man.
anyways, but it's just so weird because I'm like, oh, I've never met this guy. I don't even know really how tall he is. I can't even point out how tall he is because I've
Yes,
never
you
met him.
can.
I don't I can't.
You've met Michael.
Yeah, I met Michael, so I can say Michael's about this yay high, but I
We're
never met
identical
Max.
twins.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you're the same
You guys are identical?
size.
Yeah, we're
I didn't know
identical.
that.
What do you mean
Wow.
you didn't know that?
You
You didn't
thought they
know
were
I
that?
don't know.
fraternal?
I can tell you guys apart, no problem.
Oh, okay. This is an
Okay, but he
interesting
got
thing
LASIK.
about us.
I have friends that are triplets, and I can tell them apart as well. So maybe I just have experience.
I think, but
I
triplets
don't
can be
know.
fraternal too.
Yeah.
Like identical twins. Okay, but this is the fascinating thing is that for the longest time we didn't know if we were identical or fraternal.
Oh yeah, you did that thing, right?
Yeah, so for
Oh.
our 20th birthday, what we did was we did a fundraiser and we bought a test that would finally tell us if we're identical or fraternal, and we sent our DNA to the lab and whatever, we got the envelope that said it. And so the fun twist of the fundraiser is that you put money into like either identical or fraternal, and the amount of money you put into is the amount of votes, like sorry, ballots names you get in a draw for a prize. And like
Hmm.
if you get it right, then we draw from that, and that I guess identical or fraternal. And that only when we were 20 did we find out we were identical.
Dang. So
Because
did you
Wow.
we
guys
did
look alike?
because we always assumed we were identical because we looked the same.
Yeah.
But our eye doctor
Yeah.
and our dentist both were convinced we were fraternal. And on
Why?
top of that, every like 1 in 5 people could I tell us apart immediately and always consistently,
Yeah.
without a
I feel like
problem.
I
Like
could, yeah.
Josh, you're one of the like fifth of the people who are able to tell us apart
Uh-huh.
consistently. There's some people who we've met for the very first time who were able to tell us apart no problem. So we're
Yeah.
like, that's kind of weird. And if you look at there's a celebrity twins, the Olsen twins.
Yeah.
Hmm.
They look identical. They look very
Yeah,
similar.
very
Yeah.
similar.
They're fraternal.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
Whoa.
we were like, maybe we're like the Olsen twins, but it turns out we're not. We're just
Yeah.
identical.
But what's it? I think since Michael got was it LASIK? Got LASIK,
Yeah.
right? I think after that it's way easier to tell you guys apart.
Well, yeah, because I got glasses
Yeah,
and he's not.
exactly.
Like if I were to take off my glasses, suddenly I'm Michael.
Michael,
No,
what are you
no,
doing
no,
here,
no.
dude?
Michael, I thought you
Who
were
am
in
I?
the
I'm supposed to be in
military.
Kingston.
Yeah. But I think like when I look at you now without your glasses and when you smile, you do look a lot like Michael. Like,
Yeah, man.
but when you don't smile, I think there is a little difference in you guys that I can't tell you apart. I've never seen you
Mm,
guys in person, so I wouldn't know, like, especially not side by side, but
true, true.
I'm fairly confident I can. Watch me not be able to afterwards, but
Yeah,
I'm
I'll just
fairly
get Michael
confident.
to sign in to the podcast next time,
Yeah.
and then he'll be like, "Hey, Max."
You guys kind of
Oh,
do
you're in
sound
a
the
new
same,
room.
though.
You guys should pretend to be like sign into like the other person's Discord and just see if people notice. Like
I always look at
Oh
the
yeah.
name. I always look at the name because I was like, oh, hi, Max. Like, if it says Santa, I'm like, hi, Max. If not,
switch the names on the podcast and
Can
see
I
if people
says you
can
guys
tell.
sound the
you
same?
guys do sound
Yeah.
the same. When you jump into Discord and we're in a Valorant game, sometimes I can't tell. That's why I have to look at the
Cool.
overlay. And sometimes I'm like, hi, Mike, Max. And I was like, did I say the wrong
Which
name?
one is the happy twin and which one is the cool twin?
When they did that,
I'm the
I had no
I'm
idea. I was
I'm
so
the cool twin.
confused. I was
Warpin
so
says I can only
confused.
tell based on face shape. You can tell us, but that's impressive already. But I
Yeah.
have to focus in order to tell you guys apart. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think if you guys stood
Aiken
side by side,
says I
it's
can
hard.
tell by their PP sizes. Can you please time Aiken out for 30 minutes? Thanks. No, just kidding.
Inappropriate.
That was um yeah, okay. So any questions for our dear friend Josh J before we close off? Aiken, surely you have a question.
While we
Aiken
wait,
has the best questions.
I just want to say thank you so much, Josh, for coming in. You really opened up our podcast to some deeper thoughts and
I didn't even. I thought I
things.
just wouldn't even be serious at all. So I surprised
Yeah.
myself too. Because I
But
fight the urge to make jokes so hard.
we would love to have you
But
back. Like,
No, we will definitely have
yeah,
you back.
you
dude,
have
I would be
enticed
honored.
very
I'm a
good
big fan of this
conversation.
cast pod,
It's so funny because
as you know. 7 p.m. I'm always waiting. I'm right there.
even though we're late,
To the point where I get angry when you're late. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's so funny because we're talking and it was just really a conversation between me and Max, but Josh was here and he's
Yeah.
our special guest.
Josh is just like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's like,
Oh,
hmm
interesting.
and then we're like,
I'm
Josh,
just
how
gonna
about
munch out
you?
some dog treats while I.
And then we're like, okay, Josh, how about you? And then it's like, oh yeah, what I think, I think that I didn't think you would ask me.
I'm so sorry, Josh.
uh,
Well, we'll definitely have you. Josh is like basically honorary member cast pod. Like,
we should VIP
so
Josh, dude. We haven't done
you
that.
know what? My goal. I think what I VIP'd Kurt Chen.
Yeah,
I think every
Mhm.
guest we have on we VIP. I think that makes sense.
nice.
Also, I would love a custom role in the Discord.
What
Okay,
Guests,
what custom
special
role do you want?
guests,
special
just like
guest role.
me, Kurt, and John, special guests
All right.
Okay, okay.
with their own color and everything.
Okay, we'll do
But
that for you.
you are literally
Yes.
our last guest before we hit affiliate. So next podcast will be the last podcast before we hit affiliate, and it's just gonna be us two. But you're literally
Yeah.
the last guest
Nice.
before our, I guess, affiliate.
That's
Before we
awesome.
put ads on our show.
Yeah, before we actually
Damn,
have
guys.
hashtag ads, hashtag blue
Hashtag
notes,
ad sponsored
Hashtag
by
Blue
Shadow
Notes.
hashtag
Legends.
Clash of
Blue
Clans.
Notes.
You
Hashtag
know we got
Sax
a
underwear.
we got a referral offer by Raid Shadow Legends.
Dude, they get like a referral for everyone, I swear.
Yeah. I know no, but like dead ass, we got an email saying that
Yeah.
they'll yeah. We can earn
Okay.
up to
Yeah.
$200.
Max
Oh,
loves
okay.
Raid Shadow Legends.
I've never played Raid
I've
Shadow
never played
Legends.
it
Plays it in
either.
his free time all the time.
Dude, we're talking about it. We're getting a free
Yeah.
advertisement.
It's
Raid
literally why
Aiken
Lowell
Shadow
has
was late today.
Legends.
She was
Aiken has
busy
two
playing the game.
questions. Yeah, exactly. Aiken has two questions for you, Josh. The first is, Josh,
Okay.
do you know Harry?
Like Harry Styles,
I really don't know what he's referring to. The second question is,
Harry
Josh,
Potter. I know him.
when are you gonna make your canoe? Oh, when are you gonna find your canoe?
When am I gonna find my canoe? So I made there's been a Facebook post. There's been a Kijiji. I've been scouring Kijiji to see if anyone like lists it for sale. So I'm be like,
Mhm.
hey, that's not your canoe. Um,
Wait, what
Did you
happened to
did,
your canoe?
did your canoe get stolen?
see, Sean and I were stranded on an island because we lost our canoe.
Huh?
And this was the day before school started back in September.
What?
And then we had to call the Coast Guard. Yeah, we both Sean and I, we don't really talk about it because we're really traumatized about the whole thing. So
Why is
that's
that
what
so
Aiken.
funny?
I'm like a little triggered that Aiken brought this up a little bit right now, but I'll have to talk with him later. Um, so we went on a camping trip with a canoe, and then we slept that night knowing that we didn't have a way of getting back home.
I went
How
on
do
a
you
camping
lose?
trip with a canoe. I came back without a canoe.
How do you lose
Yeah,
your
and
canoe?
the
Wait.
the the, the canoe, it was a rental from Facebook Marketplace. So we had to explain to the guy like, "What's up? We're live, but we don't have canoe. Don't know where it is."
Oh my god,
So
rip
Because it just
canoe,
floated
bro.
away in the middle of the night. Because okay, listen, I tied the rope, and like the rope, it's meant for climbing. It's not meant to tie a canoe. So the rope snapped, and we had like the other part of
Oh,
the rope was tied to the dock, and it was 9 o'clock at night and pitch black because we're on an island. Um, Canoe, like the wind just took it, it's gone. It went nowhere.
Lowell, are you crying? Lowell, are you crying right now?
I'm not crying, but my cheeks really hurt. They're really sore.
Yeah, I feel like these things really they happen to me too often, just too often.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Oh, it hurts so much.
Like
All
these
right,
special experiences I have, they just happen to me, and then I happen to take Sean with me this time.
that's amazing. What a hilarious story.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, it
All right, we
hurts.
should wrap up. It's almost midnight on my side, so
All right.
we're ready
Yeah.
to
Thank
wrap up.
you. Thank you for that question, Aiken. Thank you so much. Hey, Aiken. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Do you want to hit us with an outro?
Yeah, hit us with the outro.
I didn't write an outro, but okay.
I didn't think you would write an intro either, but
No, we
Well,
didn't
guys,
expect the intro.
February 2nd, 2022, not 2021, and blowout. Um, that what you just watched there, what you just listened to, that was episode 6 with special guest Smooth Brain, Josh, Jay, Clay, and your host, Lowell here in Relax with Max. Relax Max. Relax with Max. Um, yeah, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. And stay tuned for next episode, episode 7, where Max and Lowell will be having their first affiliate Twitch stream.
Not quite. That's the one after the next one.
It's gonna be the one after, but they'll be affiliated by Shadow Raid
Raid
Legends.
Shadow
Nothing
Legends.
to do with the Raid Shadow Legends. Freaking killed it, man. Thanks for the
Lowell's
outro.
favorite game.
So, one little part we forgot is who should we raid?
Oh yeah,
Shadow Legends.
Raid Shadow Legends slash
Uh,
Shadow Legends.
if you
Who's
type
on?
Shadow Legends into Twitch, what happens?
Oh, have we raided
You
Serena
tell me.
yet?
Is she on?
She's on.
Okay, let's do it.
Do
Let's
it.
do it. Let's do it, baby.
Serena Serena. I hope I spelled that right.
Thank you, all those who are still chilling, who stayed for the whole thing. That's absolutely
You
insane.
guys are real ones.
You guys are
Yeah,
real
hit
ones.
them with another
Anna,
outro.
Aiken, Warpin. Warpin was here for like basically the whole thing, which is absolutely
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, and he was talking in chat
Spooky,
even though
Kurt
we
dropped
don't.
by. Wow,
Before I
that's
forget,
awesome.
thank you for all those people who dropped by and followed. Sorry. Paul
Not subscribed yet.
Clinton, VC Kingdom, and 60H0. Or 60 Zero? I don't know.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
he
Nailed
literally
it.
said, "Good job, Josh J." So, good job, Josh J.
Nice. DC Kingdom, that's my cousin right there. Shout out to my cousin.
Woo!
Love to
I
see it.
told her to come check out the Relax Your Cast Pod, and
Nice.
here she is.
Nice.
So
We love
Sweet.
to see it.
boom.
Okay. Any last words, Josh, before we go?
Yeah. Any final shout outs? Oh, your
Um,
Instagram, Josh J Clay, right?
yeah, I have like a new Instagram, Josh J Clay. We're almost at a couple hundred followers already. I
Woo!
haven't even posted anything, so that's kind of crazy.
And then
Um,
stay tuned for his podcast coming up this summer.
yeah, Pottery podcast, Pottery Talks with Josh. It'll be very,
Yeah.
very cool, very, very fun.
Amazing.
And I'll have live guests on that podcast, and I'll be teaching them.
Oh, it rated.
Oh, it rated.
And